Hi everyone, it is Reese here and you join me for a new video. And what I'm doing here is a run of a series of videos essentially based around language words. So we often assume, essentially when students rock up at university, we often assume they know a lot of the words that we sort of deploy and how we deploy them. And this is often not the case. So what I'm going to do in this video and sort of subsequent videos till I reach the end of the alphabet is essentially present a glossary, present a few common sort of university higher education words and what they mean. So hopefully this will be sort of a useful resource for people who are thinking about this, a chance to sort of unpick sort of words and when we use those words, what are we talking about? Today's video covers the letters A through C. Academic. So an academic is a member of staff who's usually involved in either teaching students and or conducting research. They can also be known sometimes as lecturers or tutors, but generally it is someone who is involved in the teaching or research side of higher education. Academic integrity. So this is a term that essentially means committing to responsible, honest conduct and ethical conduct in academic work, i.e. things such as giving credit where you've used other people's ideas and trying to avoid plagiarising or copying. It's essentially acting with honesty and integrity in however you conduct your work. Academic misconduct. So this follows on from academic integrity. Essentially any behaviour that breaches the expected standards of academic integrity when you are conducting any sort of formal academia, doing essays, assignments, exams. Examples of this include plagiarising, trying to cheat, or sort of making up data. So it's essentially doing things that are sort of not permitted. Admissions. So admissions tends to refer to two things at university. Firstly, the entire process of full-time and part-time applications for processes, and so dealing with students who wish to join an undergraduate or postgraduate course. It can also be shorthand for the team that deal with that process, be that within a department or be that in the wider university. So it refers to both the process of applying and the teams that support that process. Alumni. Alumni is a term referring to students who have completed a particular course and have graduated from a particular school or university. So you would be an alumni of a particular university or a department. It is someone who has completed an entire course of study. Assessment. Assessment refers to your academic work and how it is marked. So this is sort of a catch-all term for things like essays, exams, presentations, practical assignments. It can also be used often as a synonym for assignment. So it's referring to how your work is marked and sort of the pieces of work that will be marked. Bachelor's degree. A bachelor's degree is the type of undergraduate qualification that students generally receive after they have successfully completed either a 3 or 4 year university course. And there are different variants of this. BA standing for Bachelor of Arts, typically students who have completed an arts degree. Bachelor of Science, BSc, so students who have completed a science degree. BEng, a Bachelor of Engineering, for students who have completed engineering degrees. BEd, BEd, Bachelor of Education, for students who have completed education-linked qualifications. And Bachelor of Law, LLB, for students who have undertaken law courses. Blended learning. A blended learning is a type of teaching that combines both face-to-face sessions with online sessions. So students will be sort of having some activities in person and some activities will take place online. Bursary. Bursary is financial help offered either by an institution or by an external body to help students with money based on their personal circumstances. Generally, it is the case that this does not need to be paid back. Institutions often have their own variety of bursaries. It is also true that external bodies such as student finance or course-specific bodies will have bursaries. Campus. A campus refers to the grounds and the buildings of a university. generally comprising its classrooms, its lecture halls, its libraries, cafes, accommodation and student services. Campuses can be entirely self-contained, i.e. a campus university, or they may be found within cities, generally referred to as a city campus, in which the buildings of a university are spaced around other things in a city. CATS. So CATS is an acronym standing for Credit Accumulation and Transfer Scheme, although you will predominantly only ever hear it referred to as CATS. It's essentially a points-based system that qualifies credits for a particular course, and so it breaks down to certain modules being worth particular amounts of credit. There will be requirements that students will have to take a certain number of CATS each year in order to meet the terms of their degree and progress. But essentially it's a number that says how many credits you have to complete for each year and to complete your course. CEFR. So this is another acronym which stands for the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. Essentially, this is an international standard that qualifies language ability, ranging from A1 to beginners to C2 for people who have mastered a language. It's essentially a means of sort of describing the level of language a person is able to speak. Chancellor. So the Chancellor is the leader of a college or university, and in the UK this is normally a ceremonial or ambassadorial position. Chancellors typically confer degrees at graduation ceremonies, they lend prestige to an institution, and they act as public ambassadors for an institution, but they do not typically get involved with day-to-day operations or administrative running, and this is typically the role of the Vice-Chancellor. Citation. A citation is a reference to a work, be that a book, an article, or a particular author that has been used in someone else's work. Citations are there to give credit to an original source and to sort of demonstrate where the ideas or particular references have come from. Clearing. So clearing is a process that students go through to get a place at university or on a course if they haven't met the conditions of either their firm or insurance offer, and this typically takes place in the period immediately after results have been released. Conditional offer. A conditional offer is the most common type of offer that students receive from universities, inviting them to take a place on a course subject to some conditions. These conditions are usually linked to exam results, and the conditions are often communicated when offers are made. Contact hours. So contact hours are scheduled times where you learn directly from teaching staff. So this includes typically things like lectures, seminars, tutorials, lab sessions, anything that is taking place sort of in a timetable specifically with a member of teaching staff is typically considered a contact hour. Contextual offer. A contextual offer is an offer to study on a university course that is adjusted taking into account an applicant's personal, socio-economic and educational background alongside their grades. And the idea here is recognising some students face barriers during their education, and it sort of assesses their potential in relation to wider circumstances too. And exactly what is adjusted, what is considered, differs from institution to institution, and this is communicated to students when offers are made. So there we go. So this was the first video in sort of breaking down some of the perhaps university specific or higher education specific words that may not necessarily be familiar to people who are coming here for the first time, and hopefully this has been a useful breakdown. As I say, I'm going to continue in this series and work my way through the alphabet and cover some of the things that I think are the likeliest things to come up. I'm not going to be able to capture every single term, every single word, because some institutions will have it different, and there's just too many things for me to address. But I'm hoping to capture most of the main ones, and I hope that this will be useful. And thank you so much for watching here. And if there are any terms in particular you'd like me to address, let me know down below, or similarly any videos you'd like me to make, please do let me know. I want to make the stuff you guys want to see. And make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, ring the bell so you know when there's a new video coming. So thank you so much for watching here. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.